What's going on, y'all? Jordan, another episode of Lightning Latest. Really excited for this one because we're going to dive more into the defense, right? We talked about them in the last few days with the first and second lines. While we dive deeper into it, we're also going to talk, as you see, more about Darren Radish. I know I focused on him a couple times the last few days. I really want to touch more on him, though, because I think this could be his last shot into really making an impact for this team. We're going to talk more about the prospects as well. And of course, capping off the session with another beautiful what if, because we love those. But first, let's dive into the rest of the blue line, right? So the third line is looking like Emil Lilleberg at left defense, Darren Radish at right defense. Max Crozier so far is slated to be the seventh defenseman. I'm going to touch on Crozier first, then we're going to go back to the actual pairing, right? Crozier entering the first year of a new 3-year deal he signed. Played in 13 games 2 years ago, 5 games last year, right? So he's going to get the first shot to really lock down that final defense role. Can he do it? Yeah, still pretty young. Still, he showed in the minors he can play tough, smart hockey and really be a contributor. Hasn't really translated it to the NHL level yet. Maybe it's because of the lack of opportunity. That certainly is possible. A lot of players, as we know, take time, right, to get ready, to get developed, to adjust to a new role. Can Max Crozier do that and make his way up the pairings? It's possible, We're trying to get younger, we're trying to get healthier, we're trying to be better, right? We have to get past the Panthers this year if we play them, or we have to make some noise in the Eastern Conference. A first round matchup won't, a first round exit, I should say, will just upset the fan base even more. We've lost the Panthers the last 2 years in the first round. I can only imagine how bad it'll be if it was a third. I don't believe that'll happen. I'm really, really believing we're going to get past the Panthers, but we have to be better than them on those third and fourth lines, right? On offense and on defense. Right now, we're not on defense. We're definitely not. We're going to talk about the pairing here with Lilleberg and Radish. Lilleberg is younger, right? He's 24. He's got 2 years until he's going to be an RFA. That's great, right? Radish will be an unrestricted free agent next year. He's 29 already. So he might be running out of time to showcase that he's really more than that third or fourth line pairing guy, and that's unfortunate because, we're trying to win a Stanley Cup. That's always the goal, right? And we need players that will push us towards that limit. And if Darren Radish can't do that, then is it really worth keeping him around after this year? He's going to have to prove this year that he's better. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. Lilleberg is young, right? But he did struggle last year. And I think more time will do him well. But I also think if he played alongside a better right defenseman, like an Eric Chernak, or possibly J.J. Moser, but I prefer Moser to that first line. If he could really play alongside another veteran other than Darren Radish, I think he could be more. Now, should he have to play next to somebody better in order to be better? No. Hopefully he doesn't have to. Hopefully he does play pretty well next to Radish this year. But it's all speculative. And, I think Radish, I just don't know if he's going to be around after this season, to be honest with you. He's going to be 29 as a free agent next offseason. We really have to improve those third and fourth lines to contend seriously for a Stanley Cup. It's true. It's just 100% true. The depth and the talent, we need it across the board, not just in the top 2 or 3 lines on offense and the top 2 lines on defense and the number 1 goalie spot. We need it everywhere, right? Because it's a long season. It's a long grind. Players get hurt. People go through stuff. It happens. The depth we have right now has gotten better, but it needs to be even better than it is now. I don't know if Darren Radish is worthy of an extension right now. I don't think he is. I think if we let him go, we let Nick Perbix go, and Perbix was better than him last year. So he is in the middle of his physical prime. He's 29, right? So he should be, really taking that next step and being just a better all-around defenseman. But the development just hasn't truly been there. Last year was his best season to date. He had 37 points on 6 goals and 31 assists, plus 9 plus minus in 73 games. So not bad, right? That was an improvement over his first full season 2 years ago. His plus minus was -3 in a full 82 games, so he played all 82. But it still wasn't quite as good as last year. 6 goals and 33 points as well in 2023-2024. So I think he's going to have to push forward and probably break it. I'd like to see him break the 50-point plateau. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. Do I think he's going to be here after this summer? After this year? Probably not, too. But anything's possible. He could have a great year, really improve himself to the front office, and earn himself an extension. And it's imperative that happens because we all know that the Lightning's minor league system, it needs some work, right? The Athletic ranked it 28th overall. Up 4 spots from last year. They were 32 last year. That last, which we don't want to see. But for years now, we know the MO of Brevoy in the front office, right? They've been using picks and prospects to help upgrade our current roster in order to chase down a Stanley Cup. And it's great when you're actually chasing down a Stanley Cup, right? Like we did in 2020, like we did in 2021. However, some of these latest trades haven't worked out quite in our favor as much. So is it time to kind of help bolster that farm system? Last year's deal to bring back Yanni and to bring in Bjorkstrand is a perfect example of that, right? We used our depth, even though it is waning, to help secure that deal. Another deal that could really, really have a big impact on our system moving forward was the Sergachev deal last year, right? We got Moser and we got Connor Geekie back. Those are the 2 main pieces. Moser, as we all know, hope he does great. Really, really do. And hopefully his first season on the first pairing with Hetty, right? That's probably the best way he's going to get better, by playing in that. Also, Connor Geekie, though, is now the top-ranked prospect for this team. He has every chance to be a top 6 forward, you know? He could play great hockey. He can be an offensive threat, especially in this offense under Cooper. I have really high hopes for him, and I think we're going to discuss this over the next few days, too. I think there's a strong chance he could make a Rookie of the Year running. The system has a ton of offensive talent. We really like to see that. We want offensive talent. We want to be better that way. But everything else we need. We need defensemen. We need goalies, right? We've been discussing this next wave of Lightning talent to replace the current talent that's there. There's not a lot of it left, in all honesty, right? Geekie is ranked as the top prospect, deservedly so. Ethan Ziata is at number 2, a center. And then guess what? 3 and 4 also centers. Sam O'Reilly at number 3, who we got in the Isaac Howard trade, and that was our prospect return. Klaus Weinberg's at number 4. Those are all centers. And that's great until you remember we have Braden Point and Anthony Cirelli, Nick Paul. We have a bunch of talent, and we could probably even try to go for a top-line center next offseason, because at the moment, a ton of them are projected to be free agents. Granted, most of them probably re-sign, but some of them will get out there and could improve this team. Last guy in the top 5 is right winger Nico Hutanen at 5th. So, you know, a lot of offensive talent. Which is fantastic. You need it. The biggest issue is the lack of defense. And we're going to touch on that soon, probably tomorrow, because it's got to be better. If we're going to even hope to be better, to challenge for more Stanley Cups, right? The front four needs some help. Hopefully that's going to be Darren Radish and Mia Lilleberg on the third pairing this year. Who knows? So far, Lilleberg's raw. Radish doesn't know too much, as we've talked about. But that is needed to make sure that this team has an even brighter future than it does today. But that's okay, because we can also address goaltending in another way, and that is with Akira Schmid from the Golden Knights. Now, hasn't had a lot of experience at the NHL level, right? Hasn't had too much. He's set to be an RFA next offseason. Shown flashes in the past, right? Hasn't been given a regular shot. So being given a regular shot will probably be the best way to see if he can actually handle a workload. He's set to be the number 2 goaltender for Vegas. Samsonov is a free agent right now, so at the moment he's not back there, which is another reason why I really would like to sign him. But we'll dive into it again in a few days. He's a former New Jersey Devil. He was traded to the Knights last offseason, okay? The question is this. Can he seize the backup job there and play 20 to 30 games, maybe a little bit more, and really be an asset behind Adin Hill? We also have that problem with our team because we don't know who's going to replace Vasilevsky, right? So bringing in a younger goalie like Schmidt might be a long-term answer because, he still has time to develop into a capable starter. Would you want to sit behind Vasi for 3 years? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on how much playing time he gets, right? But the goal is to strengthen this team in order to stand up to teams like the Panthers, like the Hurricanes, like these other Eastern Conference heavyweights. If we don't do that, what's the point? Why are we fighting? We shouldn't be fighting for a Stanley Cup, and that's always the goal. Tomorrow's going to be good. We're going to finally dive back into the offense, and I cannot wait because there's so much offensive talent on this team, as you know. Also want to touch a little bit about our future work, because right now we're in a very win-focused mode. Will that ever change? I don't know. Training camp, another what if. There's just so much going on tomorrow. So this is Jordan Lightning latest signing off. We'll see you guys tomorrow.